So wait, okay. So we've known each other, you know, a long time, I
I
feel like several years now, probably like 5 years, maybe, right?
I think I met you like
Ella?
I think right before I moved up to LA. So it's been like
Yeah,
6 years.
that makes sense. That makes
Yeah.
sense.
Yeah. I think I came to like one of your fashion
Yeah.
shows or where?
I think you're right. I think you're 100%.
Yeah.
I think you
Yeah.
came to one of my fashion shows, and then I
And
feel
I
like we
drove
did
up.
something at Coachella. I feel like, right?
Yes, actually, that was it. So okay, I think that was, yeah, like almost 6 years ago, like five and
Right?
a half years
I
ago.
think so too.
Yeah.
And so since then, I mean, so much has happened. I mean, but I was so, for me, it's so fun when I obviously like really like people and, they become such incredible like friends and supporters of me, the brand and everything else. And then, when I launched CURATEUR actually in COVID over the last year, um, from Box of Style, it was sort of like thinking about, okay, I want to make Curator so beyond Box of Style because people love Box of Style, but like I want to bring in designers and talent and friends and kind of like-minded women into the curator community. And so I think for me, when I thought, oh my God, the perfect like summer cover would be Rocky because she like exemplifies everything. She's like, you know, women that we've had on the cover, it's women who um have purpose, have not that all women don't, but you know what I mean. It's like you're
Yeah.
beyond just like, because I think everyone would look at you and be like, oh my God, she's so beautiful. She's this big influencer and blah, blah, blah. But for me, it's like, of course I see that. You can't like trip over you and not see that. But like, it's sort of there's so much more to you than that. And especially now you've launched a brand, you have a baby. I'm still going to call him a baby. And your
A big
husband
thing.
is your partner. And
Yes.
so I think first and foremost, I think, we're so happy to have you on the cover. We're so happy to have Brightside as part of the curator community. But I guess what made you want to partner with us, this season, just so, we can kind of share with our readers. What do you like?
Well, obviously, we have such a long-standing relationship now. And like, I know we always talk about it. I was like, you were such an inspiration to me since even before I met you. It's just like you're so iconic with everything you do. And then I met you and I was like, oh my God, she's just as cool as I thought she was gonna be, probably if not cooler, which is like always so amazing because I feel like, you never know how people are going to be. And you're like literally the most genuine person in real life as you come off. It's just, there's no like facade. It's not like everything that you see is what you get, which I was even more so inspired by. And I feel like every time I do an event with you, you bring together the most amazing group of really strong, powerful women. And I can't tell you how many amazing people I have met through my connections with you, like at our dinners, just like
We have so much
randomly who I'm
fun.
sitting next to, you know what I mean? You
Yeah.
fall into these like amazing conversations and everyone there is doing such cool things. It's like always such an inspiring group. So to be included in that, first of all, was always so special for me as well. And then every time, and I feel like the same thing happens with everything that you do, like curator, box of style, and like all, and the past two curator boxes I've gotten have been so amazing. The way that you're able to bring not only the people and women in your lives together, but also, the amazing businesses that they're growing and the cool products that they're doing all together is something that's just really special. So, also you just supporting me in my first year of my business when it's like I feel like these are both of our babies right now.
Yes.
Everything just kind of falls into place. And when our teams were talking, it's kind of like, yeah, this is like an obvious yes, this is
Yes.
just so perfect, like why didn't we think of this sooner? So it was one of those situations. And I think obviously we both feel the same, just it felt so right. And that's kind of how I always go on things with my business,
Yep.
sometimes good and bad. I'm always a gut instinct
Gut.
person.
Yep.
Oh
Always
yeah,
gut.
full gut instinct.
And,
So yeah, it was
and by the way, you
exciting.
have to, that's like a takeaway. And it's something I always like to share with people. I think, especially as women, we have to trust our gut. We have to. If it does not feel right, most likely it's not,
Yeah.
you
Yeah.
know? And Roger
Even more
laughed
so,
at me.
even more so as a mom now too.
Yeah.
It's like your spidey sense just like kicks in so much more. So, and it was really great too, because like obviously you and Roger work together and Matt and I work together so closely, and having him shoot for the cover of the magazine
Yes.
just felt so special. It's like he always shoots me like for Instagram and like my collections and stuff, but like having it kind of be all in the family like that is something that I always love. So it's always so special. Yeah.
Uh,
I
look
love
at
putting
that.
Matt on air too, because it's like he's kind of so behind the scenes and no one realizes like Matt is like completely like the most amazing photographer ever. So I'm always like, you know, his biggest fan. I love when he gets his little moments like this too, because this is such
Yeah.
a win for
It's
him.
so beautiful. It's so
Yeah.
beautiful. And at our event, it's also going to be in every hotel room, not just the ones we're going to be in, but all over the hotel, which is super exciting.
Oh, I love it. I love doing projects with him, and you know, it's like you and Roger and Matt and
Yep.
I. So it just everything, it just feels so good and so organic. So
I
it
agree.
was a natural fit, obviously.
And I also think a takeaway for me, especially after this year, is like, even more now, everything we do, everything I think about has to have like purpose, intention, and feel right. And if it's, you know, taking me from home, taking me from the kids, like whatever it is, I feel like everything just has to go one layer deeper and has to feel that much more kind of organic and right. I don't know. That's
Totally.
kind of one of my biggest takeaways. And I think, speaking of that, because you're wearing my favorite piece from the collection, I want to talk about your incredible new business brand called Brightside, which I love the name. It's the cutest name. And it's like you, because you're always smiley. But I mean, tell me how the Brightside was born. Like, tell me what made you think about it. And I love that it's unisex, because that really comes, you know, to me, I always think about when you're launching something, like, what's the void you're filling? What isn't so out there and saturated? And like, what's your message from whatever it is that you're putting out there, right? And so,
Yeah.
Brightside.
Well, you know, I feel like we talked about this years ago. Like I've been wanting to do my own line for a really long time, but just finding the right partner to do it with. Like I ended up doing Brightside with Reunited, who did my Express campaign or collab, and they were just so amazing to work with. And you know how much work it takes to start a line, and like I was always freaking out about it because I'm like, I don't know how I'm gonna do it. And I know we've had a lot of talks about this. So for me, the right thing was finding the right partner, and they're just so amazing to work with. And we've been working on this forever and had like a whole different line designed before. And then COVID hit, and it was just like, we had to pivot really quick.
Pivot.
Yes, exactly. So, I'm actually so obsessed with how this first collection turned out. We did it very quickly, but it was just, the pieces to me feel so timeless, and they have like obviously little trends that pop in, like the puff sleeve or whatever, but there's things that you're going to always want to have in your closet. And it just finally felt right to be able to do something on my own and not just work with another brand time after time, which I've always loved doing. And I definitely want to do some Brightside collaborations in the future, but having something of my own just felt so special, and wanting to, it's so much work. It's so scary.
So much.
It's so much more terrifying than doing a collaboration.
It is. I mean, way more. It's all on you. It's all on you.
Which is amazing. It's like such a high and a low at the same time. It's like I'm on such a high. Like when I get the samples in, I'm so excited. And then you like the next day, you're like, oh my God, what if no one likes it? Like it's
question everything.
It is such a roller coaster of emotions, which I just was always so confident before. And then once it's all on you, it just, I feel like I'm in high school again sometimes, but it's a learning process, and it's the first year. So I'm getting used to everything. But I'm so excited. It's my second baby.
It is. And you know what's interesting? Another parallel that I actually just realized before I even got on this conversation with you is that I actually in 2011, March of 2011, launched my first collection 9 months pregnant with Skylar. So it was like, and I kept saying, I'm having two babies. I'm literally having, and moved into a house and like, it was crazy. It's a lot. And I think nobody realizes until they actually do it, what's involved. And people ask me all the time, like, oh, I love fashion. I want to start my own line. I'm like, you sure? Because let me explain that to you.
Yeah. It's terrifying. So much work.
Listen, here's the thing. Being an entrepreneur in general, it's, we always say on like the inside, like to my peers, we always talk about like the highs are the highest and the lows are the lowest. It's like, it just is what it is. And not everybody's cut for it. But I think, if you are, it's like sort of the time, it's all through experience and it's all a learning process every single day that you have your own business is a learning and it's awesome. And you just have to be willing to learn and, and the rewards are great.
I feel like I've never had like a stable job. I've always kind of worked for myself because it's been modeling or when I was in, I'm always working for myself.
Yeah.
So I'm used to the instability of it. And even though this is like the continued instability, at least it's my own instability. And at least I'm in control of it as opposed to like modeling and stuff or even social media, you're constantly waiting for someone else to book you or do something. And that's the instability that's even scarier. At least this instability I have control over and I can own it and have some control. I'm kind of taking back a little bit of my power in that sense. So that is a good feeling, but the sky's the limit with it. I always like think about how it's going to be in the future. And there's so much you want to do. And I'm like, okay, take it slow down. Baby step by baby step.
I can tell you this, my number one piece of advice for you would be never lose sight of what your message is and don't try and please everybody. Because you can't. And I fell into that in my first few years. You want to please every single client and customer and age group and this person, that person, this person with this stuff. And you actually can't. And that's where you start to lose yourself and your identity and what your brand actually is. And you have to just stay like focused and sort of.
It's harder to stay on the path than to veer off because
way harder.
Yeah. You almost have to be a bitch and like have everyone yelling at you like, well, like this style is going to do better and this style is going to do better. And I'm like, well, this is the one I like. And then at the end of the day, you have to trust your gut and know that like, this is why I'm doing this because people like my style. So I'm going to go with my gut instincts. But it's had amazing response. People have been so excited. So
I love it. And I'm so excited. And I became, I obviously wanted to support it because to support you first and foremost, but then when I actually got it, I love it. And I was like, we have to not only like, I'm not only going to support her, but like, let's get this into CURATEUR and let's get it into the shop. I want other people to have this. And it's just so cute. And it's so you. And like, I loved, Roger's piece was so great. And like, he's like, this is really soft. And I was like, so I think, listen, pleasing guys, like with clothes is really, that's the challenge.
Well, Roger and Matt,
Yeah, exactly.
Every time I get something cute, I'm like, Matt's like, how cute this is. And his first question is, but do they make men's? And I'm like, I can't. He's like, or if I get something like oversized, he'll be like, I think that'll fit me. I think that's mine now. And I'm like, so the unisex stuff actually worked out great. So he's obsessed with it. Yeah. Well, actually, on Revolve,
what's sexier on a girl than wearing their boyfriend's sweater, right?
Nothing. Yeah, totally.
That reminds me like in high school.
I'm excited. My girlfriend actually just called me. She's getting married in June in the Hamptons. It's like a very small wedding, but she's doing all the Starlight leisure sets for all her bridesmaids.
Amazing. That's
and I told
cute. What
I
a
was like,
great
how cute
idea.
Is that? Yeah. And I told her, I was like, you should go and get the like a little monogram for all your bridesmaids, like white on white with the Starlight set. And so she's doing it. I'm like, that's going to be so cute. I'm so excited.
I love it. Oh my God. That's so fun. That's such a cute idea, by the way.
I know. Sorry. I don't know. Matt's calling me. I lost my camera for a second. Yeah. So there's, it's such a fun, it's a very fun line to do. I'm really excited and I can't wait for you to see Summer, but
I am so excited about it. And I also, okay, so we gave birth to your baby, which is your clothing line, which is Brightside. But you actually gave birth to a real baby, and nothing made me happier when I was rubbing your tummy at our holiday party. You were so gorgeous with this.
I was like a disco ball
in a I think it was like a red sequin collection dress. You looked so hot with that bump, and I was like, oh my God, I can't, only Rocky, of course. The question is like, okay, so now you are a working mom. Your husband's your CEO and father of Jones, and obviously your husband. So I guess my biggest question, and one that I get asked probably the most of anything, is like, how have you adjusted to your new life? Because you're young, and as you said, you've always worked for yourself, right? And all of a sudden you sneeze and you have a baby, a husband, and a company, right? And like over a year, right?
Yeah.
So how, I guess, what is your biggest adjustment? Like, what's been the biggest challenge? And also, like, what's just the biggest difference? You know, I always say all of it.
Yeah, I know.
Everything.
It's weird. It's weird how you kind of just like
adjust.
Like, I wish I could say there was like one thing, because it's not, we do have an amazing nanny, Helen, who helps us during the day. And so she watches Jones, and we all are in the same house together, so I think having Helen there with us, but other than that, our team hasn't really grown that much. It's weird how you just kind of reprioritize things. And it's like a lot of stuff falls off. A lot of the fluff falls off.
Yep. And fluff, you're really okay with letting go of, by the way.
Yeah. Yeah. And you know what? Having a kid is kind of the ultimate trump card with that, because you're like, sorry, I got a kid, and no one can argue with you. And it's so true. You kind of have to just reprioritize everything. And, I think just making sure I get enough sleep, because once you have enough sleep, you can like get more done. But also now I'm up early with Jones. I feel like I'm more of like a morning person now.
Yep.
So yeah, I think it's weird. Like, you grow with your baby and you kind of adjust with your baby. And we're definitely more on a schedule now. And I used to never be on a schedule. And Matt and I used to kind of just like flutter around and
you're like bohemian,
whatever
like you just whatever, like go wherever, do whatever.
Now we definitely have to plan ahead more, but we make it work. And I think setting expectations for ourselves and our clients are also really important too. Like, just being able to understand time management and like what's actually realistic. Like, let's not just say we're going to get it done this week just to like please people. Like, let's actually set realistic expectations for ourselves. So I think that's been a good thing, not stressing ourselves out over it.
I think that's really smart, because I think that's one of the biggest things. Because it's funny that before you have children, you'll just say yes all the time, right? Like, you'll just be like, I'll get it done. I'll get it done. You're like a hamster on a wheel, right? And no matter what, you'll get it done, even if you're up all night or whatever. And like, at the end of the day, once you have a child, that child's so much more important to you than you are to yourself, that you all of a sudden are like, hold up, everybody. I need to be, this is going to take an extra 2 days. Like, so, but you give yourself permission, I think, as a parent, right?
And people understand. I think people are more understanding now of us being late. Like before, maybe it was because I was hungover and I couldn't like function the next morning. And now I have like a real excuse. I'm like, I swear I'm not hungover. I have a child.
It's true. It's so true. It is 100% true. Okay.
Just asking for help. Being like, I need an extra day. Jones had a meltdown yesterday.
I also think since COVID, people are way more understanding of that, because everyone's had to work at home with their children. And, you're very lucky that you had a baby. I always tell anyone in COVID who was working from home and had like a baby as opposed to like a teen, or even my kids were happy to be home versus like my friends with teens it was really hard. Like, imagine your teenage years, like at home in your room. That's hard.
It's like super high depression. Even like 4 or 5 year olds, like those kids need to run around and socialize. And then they're always talking like, mom.
All day and night, friend.
At least Jones just like growls at me. He's not actually talking to me yet.
It's so cute. Okay. Okay. I have two more. Okay. Well, first of all, having Matt as your co-CEO, we know Roger's mine, forever. How did you feel? I guess, what are your biggest like thoughts or pros or cons, if any, about having your husband as your co-CEO?
I think the hardest part about having your husband as your co-CEO is definitely like not being able to turn off work and create personal time for yourselves. Because Matt says it to me all the time. He's like, okay, just because we were together all day working, it's not the same as like a date night. And I'm like, and he's like, I miss you. I want to hang out with you. I'm like, but we were together all day. What are you talking about?
Haven't left each other's side in 10 hours. What do you mean?
He's like, but it's not the same. I'm like, pretty sure we were hanging out all day.
Nope.
And so making sure that you're like, and I'm still not good at it. I'm still working at it. Being able to like separate that time and do stuff not work related, I think is the hardest part. I think the best part is just, really the flexibility of working with your partner. It's, we can schedule our work around our personal life and we're always together. So, having that, it's so flexible and easy. We're like, okay, well, Jones is napping, so let's shoot something really quick, or we have a call, we can take it together, like on our drive together. You know what I mean? There's so much more that we can do and pivot so easily because we're together all the time and we work together all the time. So,
exactly the same. Yeah, I couldn't agree.
One more negative. When Matt and I are in a fight, nothing gets done.
Right.
Like it affects our work life. Like if we get in a fight, it's the most unproductive day ever. I'm just like, I can't shoot with you. I'm mad at you. And then I'm like trying to take photos. He's like, stop looking like such a bitch. I'm like, but I'm pissed at you. I hate all these photos. Like nothing gets done. It's just a waste of our day. So
by the way, the same, but I have a question. How quick is your recovery time? Like how long, if you get in like a real fight, how long does it last?
Matt's like a goldfish. Like he's done in 5 minutes and I'm pissed till the next day.
What sign are you? What sign are you?
Oh,
you're a Scorpio. And what is he?
Sag.
Wow. That's fiery, by the way. A Scorpio and a Sag. Good Lord, woman.
But he like gets in a fight and then is over it immediately. And it takes me I'm like a slow burn. So when I'm like, he's like always up and down, like pissed and then fine and then pissed and then fine. And I'm like, what's going on? But I'm like a slow burn. So like once I get there, I like am in it. And then I'm like, I'm not going to be good till tomorrow. That's why like, really, if we get in a fight, it ruins our whole day. And I'm like, I had so much to do today. Don't get me mad, please.
By the way, same. We were like, we were shooting an episode of our podcast like a couple weeks ago, and he was like on a tear, Roger. And he was like, it was like, and I was like, he had like the claws out, and I was like, and I was so mad at him. I literally looked at Mary, who works with us, and I was like, I'm not shooting this today.
Yeah.
I was like, and I sucked like so bad because I was so pissed. And I was like, and he's like, what is wrong with you? I'm like, you're an asshole. Like, I don't like you right now. So just walk out of the room. Like,
I don't like you. I know. I'm like, what? Put your camera down. There's just no point right now. Like, there's just literally no point. Yes. I'm gonna hate all of these photos. Just go home. Just go home.
But here's the thing. The way I look at it, though, and this is what I tell everybody: there is no one that I would rather bicker with or want to hit with a frying pan and hug in the same 20 minutes than Roger, because if it's not the person in your life that you trust the most, it's probably a person that could really like make or break your life. You know what I mean? If I could tell you, if I had $1 for every time a partnership breaks up, and sort of like, I always feel like when it's the love of your life and your husband, it's like, look, you may bicker, but you'll
get over it.
Correct. You get over it. You have the same, you're on the same mission. It's totally normal. And like in that moment, you have to be like, yes, you're my husband, but I hate you for these 5 minutes and like, whatever. But I think at the end of the day, I always say, for me, the pros definitely outweigh the cons. And for the reason that you said, like, especially as you're growing your family and your brand, no one understands unless they have the same situation, what a gift that is, that you can say, okay, we're going on this trip together. Okay, we're going to take the baby. We're not going to take the baby. Or like, we're going to take this call together. Okay, we have to get in the car. Like, there's a nimble thing about it that you can just constantly change. And I think that's like a real, it's a great thing. So I, for one, am really happy you guys are partners and you're so cute. And that baby, I'm already calling him Jonesy. I haven't even gotten to hug him yet.
Oh, we call him Jonesy all the time.
I mean, so cute. I can't stand it. Okay. So what is the biggest piece of advice that you would give to aspiring entrepreneurs or influencers?
Yeah.
Loaded question. I know. Sorry.
So I didn't try to become an influencer, and maybe that's super annoying to people to hear, but
no,
that wasn't my goal. Like, I wasn't like, oh yeah, I can't wait to be an influencer.
Right.
I think the way I really looked at my life, and I think the path that my career took, was that I always knew what I wanted out of my life. And at the time, influencer wasn't even a thing. Like, when I graduated college, influencing there was no social media really even happening. Right. It had just started. So that wasn't.
When was this? Rocky, what year around?
I graduated college in 2008.
Okay.
So like, when I graduated, first of all, I went to college and I loved college, and I thought it was the best experience ever. I think everyone should go to college, because I was the girl who said, I don't even want to go to college. I just want to go straight into fashion school. I know exactly what I want to do. And my dad convinced me to go to college, and I went to San Diego State. I got a BA in business marketing, and I thought that it was a complete waste of my time. And looking back on it, I was like, oh, all that marketing stuff I thought that didn't really stick in my brain and that I would never use in my life. Like, I'm literally doing social media marketing right now.
100%.
So it's like, it's weird how these paths kind of take you in a roundabout way to what you really want. Totally. And I think influencing wasn't there when I started, and God knows what's going to be around in 10 years.
Sure.
Who knows what the environment's going to look like. So I think it's so important not to focus on necessarily the end goal, but kind of more so what you want to do with your life. And I knew that I wanted to get into fashion. I knew I wanted to travel. I knew I wanted to support myself. And when I got scouted for modeling, I wasn't super into modeling, but that was kind of my foot in the door for fashion. And so I think it's so important to work hard and to really open yourself up to so many different opportunities. And as long as they're all kind of going in the right direction, I think that's the most important part. So like, when I was in college, right when I graduated, I was modeling part-time. I was doing marketing for this author in La Jolla part-time, all her social media marketing. Mm-hmm. And then I was working at 2 restaurants. I had like 4 jobs out of college. And
hear that, everybody? 4 jobs.
4 jobs. I had 4 jobs because my parents cut me off. They were like, you're done.
Yeah. Well,
so I had
you now.
4 jobs. Yeah, I had 4 jobs. So, and you know what? It made me a better person. And I think that also was the work ethic that I needed to get where I am today, because you know, I know so many people who think that like in being an influencer is the easy way to just like, I'm going to have an easy job and make a ton of money. Let me tell you, you will work harder than if you ever worked at a real job. Like you're going to work harder than ever. Like it's more, like we said earlier, it's so much more stressful working for yourself because you can't check in, check out. And whenever something is going to happen,
cover for you.
No one's covering for you ever. So if you want to do that, get ready to work 24/7. And everyone's like, how did you do Instagram? It's so overnight. I'm like, I worked like 4 jobs for like 10 years.
Yeah.
So it takes a long time. Like every overnight success is 10 years in the making. And I think I think people undervalue hard work these days. And
yeah.
Oh my God. It's so undervalued.
My son's 10-year-old friends are like, we don't need to go to college. We're going to be YouTube stars. And I'm like, oh, no, you're not. To my, Skylar's like, Mom, what do you think? I'm like, no.
Yeah.
Like,
no, it's so undervalued. It's so undervalued. And having a work ethic is just, I think all of the people that are successful on Instagram, like I just came from a Revolve trip and I can't tell you all of these influencer blogger girls that are super successful. Yeah, we have a ton of fun on these trips, but like you don't see how much work these girls are doing. Like they are up with the sun. They are doing so much content all day. It is so much work. I don't think people understand that. So I think understanding the value of hard work, it pushes you so much farther than you would ever know. It's just, you're setting yourself up for a trajectory that you could never do trying to get by or like get rich quick or make it easy. Like there's no easy way to success. It's always hard work. So I think that, get your foot in as many doors as you can and experience as much as you can, because it's not only the experience that you're going to learn, but it's also the people you're going to meet. Like all of these things accumulate into the universe and pop you out in a successful trajectory if you just work hard. So I don't know. There's the lottery, get rich quick, like none of that is real. It might always look like it, but hard work at the end of the day is really a lot of the reason why I am where I am today.
And by the way, I couldn't agree with that more. And I tell everyone that, and they're like, oh, these influencers, they have the best life. They get to paid here and paid to go there. And I'm like, you have no idea what they're actually doing. And that
girls work so hard.
I'm like on a plane every day and like, yes, going to beautiful places, but it's like, it is so much work. They're not just going there to lie out and eat good food. And it's like, it's a job. And I think for me, I will always respect people that work hard and succeed. And I agree with you that social media is confusing in that, it kind of shows only the sort of glossy parts. And I think nothing happened overnight. The truth is,
but in the same respect, I think it shouldn't be discounted, because I think all of this like beautiful content that you guys, everyone's enjoying all the time. I enjoy it. Like all of the stuff that those visual diaries that these people are sharing with you, even something like just sharing like your makeup routine or whatever, like you think it's so simple. Like it's not as easy as you think. Like there's so much thought and like effort put into every single bit of content that you're seeing from these guys and girls doing stuff. So I think it's undervalued by a lot of people, but it's like, if it was that easy, everyone would do it.
It's true. So
and listen, at the end of the day, the cream rises to the top. Like everyone can do it, but it's like,
I love
it's not as easy as you think.
But by the way, everybody, that is why she's our cover star. It's not just because of that pretty face. It's because she worked 4 jobs for 10 years, everyone.
I sound like, it's so annoying to hear, but it's true. It's like, I wish there was some like magic pill I could
there isn't
tell you all about, but
no, there is none. And I do tell people the same. And I think working hard is the best way to get where you want to be, and keep your eye on,
and being open to everything that's out there, being open and focused at the same time, if that makes sense.
No, 100%.
It's like,
I couldn't agree more.
Because you think you know everything in your 20s too. It's like, you think you know exactly what you want. And I think that if you're open to things that you're not aware of, but yet you still work hard in the right direction, I think you'll be blown away by the opportunities that cross your path.
I couldn't agree
more.
I couldn't agree more.
Yeah.
All right, I love you
so much for including me in this. I feel so special because, like I said, everyone that you bring together is always so special, and including all your curator boxes, like everything is always so fabulous. So thank you so much for including me.
It is my pleasure, my honor always. I love you madly, and I can't wait to hug you in real life.
Same.